The Goose That Laid the Golden Eggs. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village surrounded by green fields, there lived a farmer named Thomas and his wife, Martha. They weren't rich, but they worked hard and they managed to live comfortably. One morning, as Thomas walked into the barn to collect the eggs, he suddenly froze. "What in the world?" he gasped. There, in the nest, was an egg unlike any he has ever seen before. It gleamed brightly in the morning light. Thomas picked it up carefully. "It cannot be." He hurried back to the house. "Martha, Martha, come quickly." His wife rushed over. "What happened? Why are you shouting?" Thomas held out the egg. Martha stared at it. "Is that gold?" "It looks like gold," Thomas said. The two of them exchanged nervous glances. Surely it couldn't be real. Later that day, they took the egg to a jeweler in town. The jeweler examined it carefully. He tapped it, he weighed it, and then he looked up with wide eyes. "Where did you get this?" he asked. "From one of our geese," Thomas replied. The jeweler shook his head in disbelief. "A goose? Well, this egg is pure gold." Thomas and Martha nearly fell over. "Pure gold?" Martha gasped. The jeweler nodded. "It's worth a fortune." The couple left town in amazement, and all the way home they walked and talked in a very excited manner. "We'll never have to worry about money again," Martha said. "We can repair the house and buy better tools and maybe even a new wagon." That night, neither of them slept much. The next morning, Thomas rushed to the barn before sunrise. The goose was sitting quietly in her nest. Thomas waited. A little later, he looked down and smiled. Another golden egg. The goose had laid a second golden egg. And day after day, the same thing happened. Every morning, the goose laid one beautiful, shiny golden egg. Soon, Thomas and Martha became the wealthiest people in the village. Their old house was repaired, their clothes were finer, their barn was larger. People often stopped to admire their good fortune. One afternoon, a neighbor asked, "How did you become so successful and rich?" Thomas smiled proudly and said, "Oh, a little luck and a lot of hard work." But as time passed, something began to change. The more golden eggs Thomas received, the more he wanted. One evening, he sat counting his money. Stacks of coins and piles of money covered the table. Martha looked at him and smiled. "Ah, look how blessed we are." Thomas nodded, but he didn't seem happy enough. Martha frowned and said, "What are you thinking about?" Thomas leaned back in his chair. "1 egg a day? What about it?" "It is too slow." "Too slow? Think about it," Thomas said. "The goose must have a huge amount of gold inside of her. Why wait years to get them all?" Martha looked uneasy. "Oh, I don't know about that," Thomas continued. "If she lays a golden egg every day, imagine how much gold is inside her body right now." Martha shook her head. "Thomas, we are already richer than we have ever dreamt." "But we could be richer," he replied. The next day, Thomas couldn't stop thinking about it. As he worked, he imagined mountains of gold. At dinner, he thought about gold. Before bed, he thought about gold. Soon, it was all he could think about. One morning, Thomas carried the goose into the barn. The goose looked up at him calmly. For a brief moment, Thomas hesitated. But then he remembered all the gold he imagined waiting inside. "This is it," he said, and he cut the goose open. Thomas looked inside. His smile vanished. His eyes widened. No! There was no pile of gold, no treasure, no hidden fortune. Inside, the goose looked exactly like an ordinary goose. Thomas searched desperately. Nothing. His hands began to shake. No, 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 what have I done? The terrible truth hit him all at once. The goose had only been able to produce one golden egg at a time. By killing her, he had destroyed the source of his fortune forever. Every day after that, he walked into the barn hoping something new would happen. But there were no more golden eggs. The wealth they had once enjoyed slowly disappeared. And each time Thomas remembered what he had done, he felt regret. In the end, Thomas learned a lesson he would never forget. Greed can destroy the very thing that brings you success. Be grateful for what you have, and don't sacrifice a lasting reward for the chance of a quick gain. The end. Thank you for listening, dreamy readers.